Scaredy Cat Stevie was written and illustrated by Carrie Sanford, edited by Jade Nas, Jason McGillivray, and Teresa Sanford. Stevie was loud, clever, and really cool. He did, however, have one very deep, dark secret he kept locked away. When the owls hoot, and even in broad daylight when the sun was shining, Stevie got a bad case of the heebie-jeebie jitterbug blues. He didn't know why, but sometimes he would just feel very sick and afraid for no reason. Going to the grocery store made Stevie's legs shake and tummy feel queasy inside. He imagined his mother to be so busy with what to buy her guests for dinner that she left the grocery store without him. He imagined the doors closing before he could make it to the end of the aisle, and the lights began to flicker before going out completely. Next, the freezers began kicking in all around him. He would be freezing, bored, and all alone for hours. He frowned. Stevie tried looking on the bright side. He sure wouldn't go hungry. He could eat all the pickles, strawberries, chips, and cookies he wanted. But oh no! When the store opened and found him and all the empty food packages, the police would be there to arrest him and take him to jail for stealing food. Criminals in jail could be mean and nasty people that might hurt him. I wonder if there's a special jail for kids, Stevie thought. He knew the police might also treat him badly if they believed he wanted to cause trouble. How is he going to get out of this one? Stevie, hurry, sweetie. I've got much to do before the guests arrive. Shaking his head, his mind was no longer in a daze. Whew, it was only a dream, he yelled to the grocer. Stevie ran up the aisle to push the cart for his mother. Mom, how many chances of being bad do you get before you go to jail? When Stevie started school, he was afraid of all the new people. There were so many girls and boys he could hardly find his way to the cafeteria or hear himself think. One day, Stevie had something happen to him that made him never want to go back to school. The back of his arm was pulled as he was dragged into the bathroom and pushed against a wall, hitting the mirror. Give me your treats for recess. No, I didn't bring any, but even if I did, I would still say no. Stevie spit out fast in a shout, equally surprised as he was upset by what was happening. The ogre-looking kid he recognized as a wrestler in 5th grade. You better bring something good for me on Monday. Ask your mummy for lunch money, too. See you around, wimp. When the tank, which was his wrestler's name, left, Stevie pulled out a crunchy chewy bar from his book bag and ate it. Stevie relaxed and knew the tank, which was the boy named Joe's nickname from wrestling. He was afraid of being caught by a teacher and he ran quick. He got in trouble a lot, so maybe if a teacher on recess duty saw Stevie getting bothered by the tank, he would get suspended from school for the entire year. He didn't want to be scared, but he did not like to fight. Over the weekend, he plotted many ways he could get his revenge. Every idea led him back to believing he could get pulverized, squished like a banana. After his homework was completed Saturday evening, he began thinking about his science project that was coming up and thought of ways to avoid running into the tank. Hey, Sprocket, you guys come watch this movie with me. His sister Auburn, Stevie, and his friend Max watched 2 spooky movies back to back. In the first movie, there were a group of friends trying to escape blood-sucking vampires. When it was over, Auburn grabbed 2 more movies. One had werewolves coming from the woods and were hungry for campers, and the other had zombies in a cemetery. What should we watch? I'm in the mood for maximum carnage, she said without giving the boys a chance to make a request. Auburn howled, pretending to be a wolf. Oh! Stevie was nervous to watch yet another scary movie, but smiled back when Max smiled at him. 20 minutes into the film, Auburn looked at Stevie and said, Hey, you want some popcorn? We even have spice to put on top. Yeah, okay, said Stevie. Sure, said Max, with a smile at Auburn. On the screen flashed Wolf's eyes through a branch. 2 of the campers were huddled around the fire. A pair had wandered off holding hands, searching for the perfect Johnny on the spot. If Max was scared, Stevie couldn't tell, but the music and the wolves eyes, and teeth made him feel like his bones were ready to jump out of his skin. He could imagine being those people huddled around the fire so easily with a big hungry wolf ready to pounce on him. The music stopped for a moment. A slow silence fell over the room, when suddenly... Roar! Stevie was grabbed on his shoulders. Ah! With the most frightened expression. Ha ha! Gotcha! Yelled Auburn. Jerk! Max began laughing and said, Hey, good one, Auburn. You really got him good. Stevie glared at Max angrily. Why don't I leave you two alone so you can have the perfect date? Stevie went to his room and slammed the door. Auburn went to his room and rapped on the door. I'm sorry, Stevie. Please come out and eat some popcorn. I think you're overreacting. I was just playing around. Stevie said nothing. Auburn tried to open the locked door, but Stevie, I just made a huge bowl of pop. I don't want any, he yelled from under the covers. The door shut and Auburn glanced out to see Max's shoes gone. She put the popcorn in a bag for Stevie's lunch at school and turned off the movie. By the time Stevie's mother came home, his door was unlocked due to a necessary toilet mission. She knocked on his door and opened it. Stevie, are you still awake? He was under the covers with a flashlight. His mother turned on the lamp, reassuring him there were no wolves or vampires hiding in the shadows. I know, Mom. Good, you'll have to get her back with a joke sometime. She didn't mean anything by it. She just made me angry. I'll tell her I'm sorry tomorrow. They were both quiet. Well, I had a fun night out. I really like my new friend. He makes me laugh and can't wait to meet you in Auburn. I'm happy for you, Mom. Stevie really missed his dad, who lived provinces away from Nova Scotia, all the way across the country in British Columbia. He hadn't seen him in a few years. Let's go for a walk tomorrow. She kissed Stevie on the forehead and quietly said goodnight. Bright and early, Stevie's grandfather's voice could be heard coming through the kitchen door. Where's the bacon? I'm here and I'm hungry. Stevie leapt out of bed, pulled on some pants and his green sweater. He opened the door to see his grandfather's face greeting him, wide-eyed with a smile, and grandmother coming through the door with a red and white checkered cloth over top of a coffee-brown wicker basket. The entire family had breakfast with scones, muffins, fruit, eggs, tofurkey bacon that his grandfather hated, sausages, toast, gluten-free blueberry pancakes, and orange juice with pulp. After Stevie listened to them talk about what was in the newspaper, they all piled into his grandparents' Volkswagen and headed to the cottage. The hike started at 3 and didn't end until dusk. Halfway through the hike, the woman of the family went in the opposite direction of the men. Stephen's grandfather asked him about girls, if he found any at school he liked or not, and if he didn't, he would soon. Don't let them know you're nervous, and always compliment their hair, even if it needs a perm. Only kiss someone if they're special to you. Silence elapsed as they climbed through parted trees. Stevie didn't have anyone in mind, but he couldn't help but blush. They approached a cliff with a great look-off. If we get lost, we'll have to survive off of walnuts and berries. What if a bear finds us? His grandfather replied, Don't worry, kiddo. Don't worry about nothing. As they made their way down the hill, they kept a steady right until they reached the clearing. His sister leading the way, followed by her mother and his grandmother side by side, were spotted across the field closer to the cottage. On the drive home, Stevie's mind was finally free to leave behind the worries. He imagined he had tentacles for arms. The tentacles shot out of his shoulders, reached into the sky, rearranging the stars to spell his name. He imagined riding a horse in the desert, finding a mirage of water and it transforming into a portal that opened to a whole new world. Stevie wanted to live where the sky was always purple and a giant beast was there to take him from the exciting new land back to his home with his mother and even Auburn. On the way, he imagined meeting a beautiful lady in a blue gown with real live wings and a jeweled tiara. She seemed to glow all over and her purple skin shimmered. She told him what to make his science project about while holding out her hands. He put his hands out and he touched the sparkling fairy dust. He shivered. Waking up the next morning in his own bed, he felt different, confused but unafraid. There was a note on the table saying, "Went to work early, love Mum." The answering machine was blinking. He heard his sister in the washroom. She was humming and running the water. He played the answering machine. It was his mother again. He scrambled to eat cereal and a banana and listened to the recording which told him she had to go into work early and please get himself ready. Stevie dressed himself. Auburn came out of the washroom early so he could brush his teeth and catch the school bus on time. Entering the classroom and sitting at his seat, a girl with dark brown hair and brown eyes sat next to him. "Hi, what's up, boy?" She was very pretty to Stevie, and he remembered her name this time. Melina. He glanced down and back up. "Good morning." He smiled. "Guess what?" she exclaimed. "Tag, you're it." She tapped him on the head and dumped the science textbook on the desk in front of him. "What are we working on, partner?" She smiled. "I was thinking electricity." Stevie raised an eyebrow with a smirk and opened the textbook. The end of Scaredy Cat Stevie. Or is it?